How's it going, everybody? Jared Lutz here again, and today we've got patch notes. And when I mean patch notes, we've got 6,600 words of patch notes. Patch 1.1.0 is out now on all platforms. This is the July 18th update. So we're going to go over all the patch notes, all the balance changes, all the additions to the game. This is where all the seasonal stuff will be added, although the season doesn't actually start until July 20th. Okay, so let's just jump right in and go over these patch notes. First off is new unique items and legendary aspects. New unique items and legendary aspects have been discovered in Sanctuary. Use them to enhance your characters in the Eternal or Seasonal realm. These unique items could be obtained from World Tier 4, and the legendary aspects can be obtained from any world tier. So, 6 unique items. General, we have Barbarian Spear of Lycander, an uber unique staff from World Tier 4. Gain a random shrine effect for 10 to 20 seconds after killing an elite enemy, can only occur once every 30 seconds. Developer's note here, a Barbarian Spear of Lycander is an extremely rare drop. We wish you luck in recovering it from the armies of the Burning Hells. Okay, so this is the new uber unique. This is going to be added to, all the other ones like Andariel's Visage and things like that. Interesting. Not really sure how good it's going to be. Obviously, we aren't going to really know because only like 3 people in the world are going to get one. But anyways, moving on. The Barbarian unique is Azure Wrath, a unique sword. Where on lucky hit, your core skills have up to a 20% chance to freeze enemies for 3 seconds and deal 0.75 to 1.5 cold damage to them. Interesting. So this is basically giving Barbarian like an element. I don't think they have an element in terms of their skills already, so this allows them to freeze. For Druid, we got Flesh Render, a unique one-handed mace. Debilitating Roar and Blood Howl deal 0.5 to 1.0 damage to nearby poisoned enemies. For Necromancer, we got the Lidless Wall, a unique shield. On lucky hit, while you have an active Bone Storm, hitting an enemy outside of a Bone Storm has up to a 5 to 25% chance to spawn an additional Bone Storm at their location. Each of your active sacrifice bonuses increases the chance by 25% and the total number of additional Bone Storms you can have by +1. For Rogue, we got Eagle Horn, another unique bow. Penetrating Shot has a 30 to 80% chance to fire an arrow that bounces off walls and scenery. Hitting enemies from behind with Penetrating Shot will make them vulnerable for 3 seconds. Weird, but okay. And the Sorcerer gets the Oculus, a unique wand. Gain the effect of the Teleport enchantment for free. When you evade using Teleport enchantment, you are taken to a random location. What the world? We have a developer's note here. The Azure Wrath and Flesh Render unique items have flat damage effects, which scale with power. For example, at 820 item power, Azure Wrath deals between 3,359 to 6,718 damage. Moving on to 7 new legendary aspects. We have 2 general ones or 2 classic Gnostic ones. First off is Audacity, a utility aspect. When there are at least 5 close enemies, stun them for 2 to 4 seconds. This can only occur once every 20 seconds. And Craven, a mobility aspect. You gain 20 to 40% increased movement speed when moving away from slowed or chilled enemies. The new legendary aspect for the Barbarian is Ancestral Charge, where Charge calls forth 4 Ancients who also charge, dealing 50 to 100% of normal damage. Druid gets Subterranean, an offensive aspect where Poison Creepers active also cast Landslide in a circle around you. Earth skills deal 10 to 20% increased damage to poisoned enemies. Necromancer gets Gore Quills, an offensive aspect, where Blood Lance will consume blood orbs to also conjure lances from them. Each additional Blood Lance deals 20 to 50% of normal damage and prioritizes targeting unlanced enemies. Rogue gets Pestilent Points, an offensive aspect, where every 3rd cast of Puncture is poison imbued with 100 to 150% of normal potency. And Sorcerer gets Searing Wards, an offensive aspect. After spending 200 to 100 mana, your next Firewall is free to cast and will destroy incoming small missiles. Moving on, loading screen updates. We've added more dynamic loading screens with the release of Season of the Malignant. This includes adding more assets to the loading screen, such as your player character. Wow, now we don't have to look at the same 2 loading screens all the time. Gameplay updates. General, Altar of Lilith unlocks are now account-wide. Map discovery is now account-wide. Whispers will no longer reward sigil dust. Overall loot quality has been significantly improved for silent chests. Okay, nice. I did a video on silent chests, basically saying they were pointless. The channel time for the leave dungeon ability has been increased from 3 to 5 seconds. Why? We have generally reduced the tendency for many monsters to move around in combat so that melee characters don't have to chase down their enemies as much. Okay, interesting, good for barbs. And added PS5 DualSense Edge wireless controller support for PC. World tiers. World tier 2 has had the following bonuses added. Bonus gold increased from 15 to 20%, and monsters now drop 15% more enemies. Developers note here, we like where World Tier 2 has landed overall, but are increasing its reward pace to better align with its difficulty. Level scaling inside dungeons and most overworld territories has been adjusted in World Tiers 3 and 4. Monsters will begin to trail behind the player in level after a certain point, up to a maximum of 5 levels behind. This change does not affect world bosses, Legion events, Fields of Hatred, Helltide, or Nightmare dungeons. Developers note here, we want to give players a better sense of their power progression and mastery over the world, while still challenging themselves with structured endgame activities. World Tier 3 example, if the player's level is below 55, the monster's level is 55. If the player's level is 56 to 60, the monster's level is 55. If the player's level is 61, the monster's level is 56. And if the player's level is 62, the monster's level is 57, etc. From this point, the monsters will always be -5 until World Tier 3's max monster level of 70. World Tier 4 example, if the player's level is below 75, the monster's level is 75. If the player's level is 76 to 80, the monster level is 75. If the player's level is 81, the monster's level is 76. If the player's level is 82, the monster's level is 77, etc. From this point, the monsters will always be -5. Experience. Reward experience for completing Whispers in World Tier 3 and 4 has been significantly increased. Developers note here, we have observed that the experience bonus rewarded for killing higher level monsters escalates too fast when compared to the relative challenge involved. We still want to reward players for taking on this challenge by encouraging them to participate in power leveling together instead of one player killing enemies while another member of their party waits at the dungeon's entrance. Okay, so this developer's note is for the next bullet point, where they are adjusting bonus experience rewards for killing monsters that are a higher level than the player. So pre-season of the Malignant, 1 level higher you're getting 15% more XP, 2 levels higher is 20%, and 3+ levels higher is 25%. Post-season of the Malignant, 1.5% bonus per level up to 10 levels. So example, 1 level higher is 1.5% more XP, 2 levels higher is 3%, and 10 levels higher or more is 15% XP. We are also adjusting experience rewards for monster level offsets for higher world tiers. Current World Tier level offsets, World Tier 2 up to +3, World Tier 3 up to +10, and World Tier 4 up to +100. They're changing this to World Tier 2 up to +3, which is unchanged, World Tier 3 up to +6, and World Tier 4 up to +10. For example, you are level 1, your friends bring you to World Tier 4 and leave you at the entrance of a dungeon. They start killing level 100 monsters. Prior to Season of the Malignant, you get this amount of XP, and after Season of the Malignant, you're going to get this amount of XP. So they're basically making it so you can't boost your friends as easy as it is currently. Helltides. Developers know we're looking to increase the danger in Helltides risk-reward gameplay by making the monsters a bit more challenging and the Tortured Gift of Mysteries harder to open. Helltide monsters are now 3 levels higher than the player instead of 2. The Tortured Gift of Mysteries chest has had its cost increased to 250 aberrant cinders from 175. Dang. All interactable objects in Helltide zones now have a small chance of dropping aberrant cinders. That is a huge increase. It's going to be a lot harder to open all 4 chests every single Helltide event. Moving on to balance updates. Developers note, as our community continues to battle the burning hells, the builds emerging from new players have shocked and delighted us. We've chosen to focus Season of the Malignant's balance updates on clear itemization disparities over redesigns of class features. The class changes are largely focused on numeric increases to skill upgrades and legendary aspects that players haven't yet found compelling. Additionally, we're changing critical strike damage paragon glyphs to empower all damage instead of only core skills to enable more build strategies. There are also a few class stat decreases on sources which grant extreme amounts of damage, healing, or unstoppable. In general, we prefer build-specific changes to be bonuses instead of decreases, but we feel these changes are necessary for the overall health of the game. Diablo 4 is a game that is continually evolving through its seasons, thus the adjustments we will make will evolve with them. Alright, so for Barbarian, skills. Violent double swing, vulnerable duration increased from 1 to 2 seconds. Furious upheaval damage bonus per stack increased from 3% to 5%. Power charge cooldown reduction is now capped to 3 targets for a maximum of 9 seconds of cooldown reduction. Tactical ground stomp fury gain increased from 25 to 40. Enhanced death blows damage bonus to bosses increased from 100% to 150%. Enhanced Steel Grasp vulnerable duration increased from 2.5 to 3 seconds. Enhanced Rupture damage increased from 30 to 45%. Warriors Rupture attack speed bonus increased from 20 to 30% and duration increased from 4 to 5 seconds. Fighters Rupture healing increased from 15 to 18% maximum life. Passives. Hamstring now only slows healthy enemies, and slow amount increased from 10, 20 to 30% to 20, 40, and 60%. Cut to the bone bleeding damage bonus to vulnerable reduced from 6, 12, 18% to 5, 10, 15%. Paragon. Wrath Glyphs bonus now affects all damage instead of just core skills. Aspects. Relentless Berserker's Aspect Berserking duration increased from 1 to 2 seconds. Battle Mad Aspect Berserking duration increased from 1 to 2.5 to 2 to 3.5 seconds. Brawler's Aspect damage increased from 1 to 1.3 to 1.5 to 1.8. Aspect of Burning Rage damage increased from 0.08 to 0.14 to 0.22 to 0.28. Aspect of the Iron Warrior damage reduction increased from 15 to 25% to 18 to 28%. Slacking Aspect Lucky Hit Chance increased from 30 to 50% to 40 to 60%. Aspect of the Ancestral Echoes Lucky Hit Chance increased from 40 to 50% to 50 to 60%. Weapon Master's Aspect Lucky Hit Chance increased from 32 to 50% to 37 to 55%. Items. Gore's Devastating Grips now explodes every 2 seconds or after it ends, and its hit cap has been removed, and Fields of Crimson bleeding damage bonus increased from 10 to 15%. Okay, moving on to Druid. For skills, Enhanced Claw attack speed bonus increased from 10 to 15%. Storm Strike damage reduction reduced from 25% to 15%. Boulder damage increased from 33 to 46%. Savage Trample Spirit gain increased from 20 to 40. Prime Lacerate healing increased from 3 to 5%. Cataclysm lightning damage increased from 64 to 77%. And tornado damage from 19 to 23%. Supreme Cataclysm vulnerable duration increased from 2 to 3 seconds. Prime Cataclysm duration increased from 2 to 4 seconds. And Prime Grizzly Rage now grants Unstoppable for 6 seconds instead of while active. Passives. Provocation threshold required for guaranteed overpower reduced from 35-30-25 to 24-20-16 seconds. Spirit Boons. Masochistic now also requires a lucky hit chance of 75%. Prickle Skin Thorns increased from 0.1 to 0.15. Iron Feather maximum life increased from 10% to 14%. Bolster Fortify increased from 10% to 15% of max life. And Overload damage increased from 0.2 to 0.25. Paragon, Spirit Glyphs bonus now affects all damage instead of just core skills. Aspects. Aspect of the Calm Breeze lucky hit chance increased from 5 to 10% to 7 to 12%. Balanced Aspect maximum spirit increased from 30 to 50 to 60 to 80. Aspect of the Tempest damage bonus increased from 7 to 15% to 10 to 18%. Skinwalker's Aspect healing increased from 0.05 to 0.1 to 0.07 to 0.12. Symbiotic Aspect cooldown reduction reduced from 4 to 8 to 3 to 5. Aspect of the Stampede damage bonus increased from 10 to 20% to 16 to 26%. Shepherd's damage bonus increased from 6 to 8% to 6 to 10%. Items. Insatiable Fury Werebear skill ranks increased from 2 to 3, and Mad Wolf's Glee Werewolf skill ranks increased from 2 to 3. Now for the Necromancer, starting out with skills. Initiates Decompose Slow increased from 30 to 50%. Paranormal Sever cast required for vulnerable reduced from 4 to 3. Enhanced Blood Surge healing increased from 2.5% to 3% of max life. Enhanced Blood Lance damage reduction for piercing reduced from 15 to 10%. Bone Prison initial essence gained from 15 to 25. Abhorrent Iron Maiden healing increased from 5% to 7% of max life. Golems move faster and unhindered through enemies when their cooldown is activated. Supreme Blood Wave leaves behind blood orbs earlier in its path. Raised Skeleton, Corpse Explosion, and Corpse Tendrils range for auto-targeting corpses on mouse and keyboard increased by 50%. Raised Skeleton Skeletal Priest bonus damage increased from 20 to 30%, and Raised Skeleton Skeletal Priest healing increased from 10 to 15%. Passives. Evulsion bonus damage to vulnerable reduced from 6, 12, and 18% to 5, 10, and 15%. Transfusion minion healing increased from 15, 30 to 40% to 20, 40, and 60%. Drain vitality lucky hit chance increased from 25% to 30%. Amplified damage increased from 369% to 4812%. Book of the Dead. Necromancer's minions will now automatically resummon after respawning during a world boss fight. Skeleton Warrior Defenders upgrade Thorns inherited increase from 40% to 50%. Shadow Skeleton Mage upgrade attacks required for an additional Shadow Bolt reduced from 5 to 4. Bone Skeleton Mage upgrade Fortify amount increased from 11% to 20%. Iron Golems upgrade attacks required for Slam attack reduced from 5 to 4. Paragon, Essence Glyphs bonus now affects all damage instead of just core skills. Aspects, Splintering Aspect Bone Shard damage reduced from 50 to 100% to 30 to 60%. Aspect of Plunging Darkness bonus damage increased from 50 to 100% to 75 to 125%. Coldbringer's Aspect Blizzard cooldown reduction from 10 to 8 seconds. Aspect of Hungry Blood, chance to fire a Blood Lance increased from 10 to 20% to 13 to 23%. Blood-soaked aspect damage increased from 0.15 to 0.2 to 0.24 to 0.31. Aspect of Ultimate Shadow damage increased from 0.16 to 0.22 to 0.43 to 0.48. Aspect of Grasping Veins critical strike damage bonus reduced from 30 to 60% to 20 to 40%. Osseous Gale aspect bonus Bone Storm duration increased from 4 to 8 to 5 to 10 seconds. Aspect of the Damned damage bonus increased from 30 to 40% to 40 to 50%. Blood Bathe aspect echo damage reduction reduced from 70 to 60% to 60 to 50%. Aspect of Reanimation Skeletons damage bonus increased from 20 to 30% to 30 to 40%. Items. Bloodless Scream essence gained increased from 2 to 5 to 7 to 10. And Deathless Visage damage increased from 0.25 to 0.35 to 0.28 to 0.38. Moving on to Rogue. For the skills, Advanced Rapid Fire duration increased from 3 to 5 seconds. Caltrip's cast speed increased by 15%. Enhanced Cold Imbue lucky hit chance increased from 30 to 40%. Enhanced Smoke Grenade damage bonus increased from 15 to 20%. Methodical Dash maximum cooldown reduction increased from 3 to 4 seconds. Concealment Stealth duration increased from 4 to 5 seconds. Enhanced Dark Shroud's chance to not be consumed increased from 10% to 14%. And Supreme Death Trap's cooldown reduction increased from 10 to 12 seconds. For the passives, Victimize lucky hit chance increased from 30% to 35%. Siphoning Strikes now also requires a lucky hit chance of 75%. Rugged damage reduction against damage over time effects increased from 5, 10, 15 to 6, 12, 18. Mending Obscurity healing per second, while Stealth increased from 369% to 4, 8, 12%. And Aftermath energy restored increased from 25, 50, 75 to 30, 60, 90. For the Paragon, Combat Glyphs bonus now affects all damage instead of just core skills, and the Eldritch Bounty legendary node duration increased from 6 to 9 seconds. Specialization, Preparations, ultimate cooldown reduction increased from 4 to 5 seconds. Legendary Aspects, Aspect of Volatile Shadows damage increased from 0.1075 to 0.193 to 0.2 to 0.27. Icy Alchemist aspect chill increased from 15 to 25%. Shadow Slicer aspect damage increased from 25 to 30% to 80 to 100%. Toxic Alchemist damage increased from 0.080 to 0.13 to 0.11 to 0.16. Vengeful Aspect lucky hit chance increased from 30 to 50% to 40 to 60%. Aspect of Imitated Imbuements duration increased from 5 to 9 seconds. Aspect of Stolen Vigor healing increased from 0.02 to 0.06 to 0.04 to 0.08. Aspect of Lethal Dusk life on kill duration increased from 4 to 6 seconds. Aspect of Noxious Ice bonus damage increased from 10 to 25% to 14 to 29%. Aspect of Elusive Menace dodge chance increased from 1 to 5% 5% to 3 to 7%. And for the items, Sky Hunter's energy gain increased from 15 to 25 to 20 to 30, and Grasp of Shadow lucky hit chance increased from 20 to 30% to 24 to 34%. And then lastly, Sorcerer skills. Enhanced Charged Bolts damage increased from 24 to 30% and now benefits from skill ranks. Destructive Charged Bolts damage reduction increased from 20 to 25%. Destructive Incinerate damage reduction increased from 20 to 25%. Ice Blade's cast cleanup has been tightened, allowing players to act after it's cast sooner. Firebolt initial damage increased from 10 to 18%. Wizard's Firewall maximum increased mana regeneration increased from 25 to 35%. Wizard's Blizzard core skill mana cost reduction increased from 10 to 20%. Supreme Deep Freeze cooldown reduction increased from 50 to 100%. Passives. Elemental Dominance now also affects mastery skills instead of just core skills. Potent Warding duration increased from 3 to 9 seconds. Protective Barrier duration increased from 2 to 3 seconds. Align the Elements damage reduction per second increased from 1, 2, and 3 to 3, 6, and 9. Mana Shield damage reduction increased from 5, 10, and 15% to 7, 14, and 21%. Devouring Blaze bonus critical strike damage reduced from 10, 20, and 30% to 7, 14, and 21%. Devouring Blaze bonus critical strike damage to Immobilized reduced from 25, 50, and 75% to 10, 20, and 30%. And Fiery Surge mana regeneration increased from 10, 20, and 30% to 15, 30, and 45%. For the Paragon, Destruction Glyph now affects all damage instead of just core skills. Enchantments. Spark Enchantment chance to form crackling energy increased from 10 to 14%. Frozen Orb enchantment chance to be cast increased from 20 to 30%. Incinerate enchantment cooldown reduced from 18 to 14 seconds. Hydra enchantment mana threshold reduced from 300 to 200. Legendary aspects. Aspect of Efficiency mana cost reduction increased from 10 to 20% to 15 to 25% and now also affects mastery skills. Aspect of Armageddon damage increased from 0.205 to 0.25 to 0.35 to 0.4. Aspect of Shattered Stars damage increased from 0.15 to 0.2 to 0.2 to 0.25. Serpentine Aspect Hydra duration reduction reduced from 30 to 20% to 20 to 10%. Glacial Aspect Ice Spikes bonus damage to Frozen reduced from 25% to 15%. Glacial Aspect Ice Spikes damage increased from 0.2 to 0.3 to 0.25 to 0.35. Aspect of the Frozen Tundra Ice Spikes damage increased from 0.25 to 0.35 to 0.3 to 0.4. Aspect of the Frozen Wake Ice Spikes damage increased from 0.2 to 0.3 to 0.25 to 0.35, and Chill increased from 10 to 15%. Aspect of Biting Cold chance to apply vulnerable to frozen enemies increased from 25 to 35% to 30 to 40%. Encased Aspect Life and Mana restore per second increased from 10 to 20% to 20 to 30%. Stable Aspect chance for a free cast increased from 5 to 10% to 7 to 12%. Aspect of Splintering Energy chance to spawn an additional Lightning Spear increased from 11 to 20% to 41 to 50%. Aspect of the Unbroken Tether chance for additional chain lightning chains increased from 25 to 35% to 30 to 40%. And for items, Gloves of the Illuminator Fireball damage reduction reduced from 65 to 75% to 55 to 65%. Asu's Heirloom critical strike chance from move speed increased from 15 to 25% to 20 to 30%. And Isadora's Overflowing Cameo chance to release a Lightning Nova increased from 10 to 15%. Okay, that was a lot of reading. I had to take a break, but now we're moving on to general changes. For aspects, Aspect of Disobedience maximum stacks reduced from 100 to 60, reducing the maximum bonus armor percent from 25 to 50% to 15 to 30%. I think we all knew this was coming. This was a really good aspect, so it had to be nerfed. Aspect of Retribution bonus damage to stunned reduced from 20 to 40% to 10 to 20%. Exploiter's Aspect bonus damage to Unstoppable reduced from 20 to 50% to 20 to 40%. And the Starlight Aspect Resource Restore increased from 10 to 20 to 20 to 40. Items. The Butcher's Cleaver Slow increased from 40 to 75% to 61 to 75%. Drop rate adjustments. Increased bonus to drop ancestral and sacred items in Nightmare Dungeons from plus 5% to plus 10%, removed a 20% chance to drop an extra equipment item from elite monsters outside of Nightmare Dungeons and Helltide, increased chance to drop an extra equipment item from elite monsters in Nightmare Dungeons and Helltide by plus 10%. Nightmare Dungeons now have a 50% chance to drop a second legendary item upon completion, and Nightmare Dungeons now give 3 rare items upon completion, up from 1. Okay, nice increase to rewards there. Monsters. Increased monster HP scaling from 85 to 100% bonus per extra player in a party. Miscellaneous. Adjusted the scaling of the Greed Shrine to improve its effectiveness throughout the game. World bosses now drop potions more often, and there is no longer a limit to how many materials you can refine into higher materials at once. Item affixes. We have a developer's note here. Many affixes are too efficient and are outshining alternatives. We're looking to refine the outliers, improve the number of meaningful choices on competitive slots, and increase the overall flexibility of items. We know these changes will reduce the total amount of possible power a character can possess, so we'll be monitoring how these changes affect players' ability to conquer expected milestones throughout the season. We're increasing the availability of the affixes below to make them easier to include in different builds. Control impaired duration reduction can now appear on pants. Barrier generation can now appear for all classes. It will also begin dropping later in the game. Lucky hit chance, while you have a barrier, can now appear for all classes. Reduced by 12% when on helm and 20% when on amulet or offhand. Mastery skill damage, newly added, can appear on sorcerer weapons, skills identically to core skill damage, interesting, and resistance to all elements can now appear on shields. Developers note the core stat bonuses on weapons has been overperforming, so we're pulling back on this bonus. So what they're doing here is basically strength, dexterity, intelligence, and willpower. It used to be 50% stronger when on weapons, and now it's going to be only 25% stronger when on weapons. Developers note cooldown reduction affixes often felt mandatory due to their raw power. We imagine cooldown reduction will remain a highly desirable stat, but the penalty for not prioritizing it won't be as harsh. Cooldown reduction reduced by 30%, imbuement skill cooldown reduction reduced by 30%, and trap skill cooldown reduction reduced by 30%. Developers note we're seeing critical strike damage and vulnerable damage often viewed as a hard requirement for a build's success in Diablo 4. We believe this is a step towards allowing more builds to flourish and will continue to make changes in support of this goal. Critical strike damage reduced by 17%, lightning critical strike damage reduced by 17%, critical strike damage with bone, earth, imbued, and werewolf skills reduced by 17%, and vulnerable damage reduced by 40%. These are all affix related, by the way. Developers note, disparities in inherent affixes can rule some weapons out before the rest of their stats are even rolled. These are receiving harsher reductions than their normal affix counterparts to increase weapon flexibility. Cooldown reduction inherent on offhands reduced by 35%, critical strike damage inherent on swords reduced by 50%, and vulnerable damage inherent on crossbows reduced by 65%. Developers note, damage bonus to crowd-controlled enemies was overperforming relative to the ease of activating it versus stricter crowd-control type-specific affixes. Damage to crowd-controlled enemies decreased by 30%, damage to frozen enemies increased by 20%. Developers note, we have seen that skillful players are frequently slaughtering monsters many levels above their own. We want to support this, but the current situation is beyond what we believe is correct for the long-term health of the game. To chase this goal, we're shifting power to many offensive affixes from defensive affixes. We know this will make our endgame content more deadly, particularly for those chasing our pinnacle boss, an encounter not meant for the faint of heart. Overcoming the pinnacle boss will take every ounce of grit you can muster and all tools at your disposal. We will continue to evaluate feedback from the community and make changes to our combat mechanics. Alright, basically they've changed a bunch of affix stuff. I'm just going to put these on screen instead of reading through them, and you can just pause the screen if you want to actually take a look at what's happening here. And that is it for the patch notes. That was a lot of patch notes. I think I'm just going to end up cutting the bug fixes out of this, or else this video is going to be an hour long. I'll leave the link in the description if you guys want to check the patch notes out for yourself. More videos are coming. Season starts in 2 days, so lots more on the way for Diablo 4 content from me. Apologies, I'm a bit tired after reading all those, but that's it for me. Leave a like, subscribe for more Diablo 4 videos. Like I said, lots more on the way, and I'll see you later. Peace.